NATO prepares for military exercises in the Baltic, but Turkey pours scorn on Sweden and Finland's bid to join the military alliance. Carles Puigdemont steps down as leader of his Catalan independence party with a scathing attack on the Spanish government.
Princess Anne represents the British monarch at the Epsom Derby, and the Cambridges visit Cardiff Castle as celebrations for Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee continue for the third day.
This is what armies the world over call collateral damage. Private homes and innocent people killed or maimed in war. Treating an evacuation, the tasks left to volunteer doctors and nurses. New casualties in Donbass, the victims of a new phase in this war, with Russian planes firing guided and unguided missiles, coordinating with big guns on the ground. In the Donetsk direction, the enemy is shelling positions of our troops along the entire line of contact with mortars, cannon and rocket artillery. It uses army and aviation. The main efforts concentrated on the Sievierodonetsk and Bakhmut directions. Ka-52 Alligator gunships. Pictures supplied by Russia's MOD and designed to illustrate what it calls the power, effectiveness and accuracy of its aviation forces. High-precision launched missiles hit an artillery training center of the Ukrainian armed forces near the village of Stetskivka in the Sumy region. Here, Ukrainian servicemen were being trained to operate and direct the fire of howitzers. Also, a base of foreign mercenaries near Dakhny in Odessa region was destroyed as the result of a missile attack. More Russian MOD pictures from its public relations offensive. Russian engineers clearing minefields in Kharkiv. Ukraine claims it may take decades to clear these fields and make the countryside safe again for its citizens.
Around 45 ships are in the Baltic Sea ahead of 2 weeks of military drills in the region, which begin on Sunday. NATO's Baltops 22 is being hosted this year by Sweden. Military leaders suggest it's no coincidence the operation is larger than in previous years.
The exercise this year is probably about 30% bigger than last year. 45 ships, 76 aircraft, 16 nations, 14 of them NATO allies and 2 very close partners.
And the 2 close partners are Sweden and Finland, who hope to join the international military alliance, a move strongly criticised by Turkey's president. Right now, terrorist organisations are going freely around in Sweden and Finland, he says. They're carrying the posters of the terrorist organisation head. They're doing this under the security of the Swedish and Finnish police. Meanwhile, around 1,800 troops from 8 NATO countries are taking part in a drill organised in southeastern Romania, where NATO's been beefing up its presence since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Catalan independence campaigner Carles Puigdemont has stepped down as leader of the party he founded, Junts per Catalonia. Laura Borràs and Jordi Turull are now formally the new president and general secretary. In his final speech as leader, Puigdemont accused the government of punishing all Catalans because they have the pro-independence majority. The Spanish government is punishing Catalans for campaigning for the Socialist Party leader, he says, saying if they don't vote for the right candidate, they won't give us the treatment we deserve. And that helps our political adversaries argue that Catalonia is not doing well with everyone's money. And that is corruption, political, moral, economic corruption. On May the 24th, the Court of Justice of the European Union provisionally returned parliamentary immunity to the party's 3 MEPs.
At Epsom on Derby Day, and Queen Elizabeth's daughter, Princess Anne, represented Her Majesty. The Queen, who's 96, had opted to watch the classic race on television at Windsor Castle. At Cardiff Castle, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge dropped in with two of their children, Prince George and Princess Charlotte, to check on preparations for a Platinum Jubilee party in Wales. Across all corners of the United Kingdom, festivities are taking place as people celebrate the Queen's 70 years on the throne.
I think it's amazing for one person to reign for that long, and we never get to see it again in our lifetimes.
I think it's really important for everyone to show their love and support for the Queen, and just so we can feel kind of united together as a nation. I think that's really important as well.
For the last few years it's locked down, so people didn't have that opportunity. So it's a nice time. Everything is come normal now, so people are come together. So it's everybody, every community coming together. It's really nice to see that.
On the streets of London, double-decker buses and bunting, cream teas and children's parties on the third of 4 days celebrating the Platinum Jubilee. Whether they were making paper crowns or heading to the shops for a souvenir, it was a day for people all over the UK to mark their monarch's 70-year reign.
The anniversary of the 1989 crackdown on Tiananmen Square protests was marked by heightened security. On June the 4th, 33 years ago, Chinese troops opened fire to end the student-led unrest in and around the square. Chinese authorities ban any public commemoration of the event. On Saturday, police in Hong Kong warned people not to gather as they try to wipe away any reminders of the events. Annual Catholic memorial masses, one of the last ways for Hong Kongers to come together publicly to remember, were cancelled this year as they feared breaching the law. 6 universities have removed June the 4th monuments that stood on their campuses for years. And last December, Hong Kong University removed its so-called Pillar of Shame, commemorating the victims of the massacre. In 1989, the government sent troops and tanks to break up peaceful protests by demonstrators calling for political change. Hundreds, by some estimates, more than 1,000 were killed in the crackdown. Polls have opened in Canada for French people to vote in the first round of legislative elections. They join over 200,000 voters in French Polynesia to elect the 577 members of the 16th National Assembly. Polls were also open in the US for French citizens there to make their choices. Voters in France cast their ballots on June the 12th and 19th.
Top-ranked Iga Swiatek lifted the French Open trophy for a second time after winning at Roland Garros in 2020. She beat Coco Gauff 6-1, 6-3. The win was Swiatek's 35th in a row, equaling Venus Williams' winning streak in 2000. Swiatek won the first 4 games of the opening set and in the second broke back at 2-all before going on to dominate the rest of the match. The crowd at Roland Garros got behind Coco Gauff from the start, even as she struggled with a double fault. But the Polish player's heavy topspin forehand and composure proved insurmountable.
Cave lovers can enjoy prehistoric artworks from the Cosquera cave at a replica of the underwater cavern in Marseille. Drawings of horses, bison and penguins have all been replicated because the only way of seeing them is to dive to the bottom of the Mediterranean. The cave was discovered in 1985, 37 metres beneath the sea. I've been working since the beginning on the reconstruction, with my eyes mostly to help the painters and the plastic artists who made all the creations and everything. At the same time, it's to get as close as possible to reality. Some of the cave's treasures date back more than 30,000 years. Climate change, water and plastic pollution threaten to wash away the Stone Age drawings. We have a whole space that will provide the Paleolithic context. Why were there large penguins in the harbour of Marseille and painted in the Cosquera cave 30,000 years ago? And why has the sea level risen since the Ice Age? 3 men died trying to discover the cavern, and it's among 4 of the largest cave art sites in the world. But what it was used for remains an enigma, according to experts, and archaeologists agree that people didn't live there.